Yeah, let's get started. Hi, everyone. Again, welcome back to the 24th call. Yeah, 24th call. Let me change the slide. So as always, some context here. These core devs are for core contributors to present what they've been working on and discussing features and protocol changes with community members like you. With so much happening, it's always hard to fit everything into a 1 hour slot and have lengthy discussions. So I always invite folks to go to the forum and check whatever core devs are sharing. Share some feedback with us. We do wanna hear what you have in mind and your comments. Everything is out in the open forum, Discord, GitHub. Yeah, please do so. I will paste in the group chat the link to our ecosystem calendar so that you can use to subscribe to future calls as well. And if you haven't seen it yet, there's now, it's been a couple of months that core devs are now sharing updates on the forum on a monthly basis. Bite-sized information, a lot of alpha there. I highly encourage you to follow those forum updates as well, because again, we can't talk about everything during these sessions anyway. So yeah, let's see. Agenda for today. So I will start with the chain integration process. This is something we've announced a couple of days ago. This is the new community-based process for getting new chains supported on the network with indexing rewards. I'll go through this process in a little bit. Secondly, we've been updating the community on two upcoming protocol changes, that is GIP 52 and 51. 52 on the plan to increase indexing rewards on L2, Arbitrum, and GIP 51 on the new exponential mechanism, the new exponential rebate mechanism that's replacing the Cobb-Douglas for distribution of query fees. Those are coming at the same time. We'll have Pablo and Tomasz talking about what that means for indexers and the latest timelines as well. Then we'll have something more tailored for Subgraph developers and consumers. Simone from EdgeNode will show what the new Arweave file data sources feature brings. And this has been recently introduced in GraphNode. If you've seen GraphNode 032, if you've seen what we've done previously with IPFS, this is pretty much the same approach, but now for Arweave, so a more robust implementation, let's say. And yeah, also for developers and consumers, we also have Spyglass, the team joining us, who has been building a web-based data visualization solution with Substreams, starting all with smart contracts addresses. It's pretty cool. It looks great, and it shows how powerful Substreams really are and the sort of new use cases it unlocks. So I'm pretty excited to have them joining again. As you know, they've been on the call before. They've been building the Subgraph bridge as well, using the graph as an L2 read-only sort of layer. Maybe we can talk about that at the end as well. Yeah, so like I said, there's a bunch happening at the same time with the graph. Next month, we'll have a bunch more updates for sure once we're ready. And again, do check the forum because we also have some updates there. So before we start with the other speakers, let me go through the chain integration process I've just mentioned before. This is similar to the MIPS program we've done a couple of months ago. The main difference is that before we had like an incentive, an off protocol incentive from the foundation to bootstrap indexer supply and readiness on these chains. This is different. This is a community-based, as in if there's a new chain that's currently not supported on the network, these chains can come to our forum and say, I want to be supported on the protocol. And so we have a 3-stage process for them to be fully supported, as in having indexing rewards so that indexers can be rewarded for indexing those chains. So the first step really is to go to our forum, and I'll paste in the show notes and in the chat a link to the blog post or the forum post where we outline the process and how you should apply. But this is essentially the starting point is a forum post. We'll then reach out, we'll go back. So obviously you'll need to have a Firehose integration already working with GraphNode if it's a new chain. If it's an EVM-based chain, this just means configuring GraphNode to connect to your RPC endpoint, and it should work out of the gate. So step one is to ensure that that implementation exists. Step two is testing that implementation on the testnet with our community of indexers. This is relevant to ensure that the quality of service is there, the implementation is reliable, clients are stable, all of that. At the same time, in stage two, this is where the Studio integration will happen. As you know, Subgraph Studio is what developers currently use to test their subgraphs in a free tier and like the staging environment before going to the decentralized network. So every new change should support Subgraph Studio or alternative gateways / GUIs. We just need something that developers will have access in an open and public way to test their subgraphs before publishing it to the network, and use the Studio also to publish those subgraphs to the network. And yeah, so once we have those two things rolling on stage two, that's where we'll be monitoring, like I said, the quality of service. Data determinism is obviously always important, so we'll be doing some testing as well with community members. And then anyone can follow the process to ask the council to get indexing rewards for these chains on mainnet or the Graph's decentralized network. And we have all of these processes outlined in the GIP, the PRs you need to do, the GIP you need to write, but that's pretty much it. That's all the council should need to effectively allow, let's say, indexing rewards on that new data service, data source. So yeah, I see some questions in the chat, Vince. Let me try to address this before we move on. Is that the only one? Yeah, I see. Vince, sorry, not Derek. Yeah, Vince, does Optimism need to go through this process since never made it to mainnet during MIPS? Yes, that's true. We never made it to mainnet during MIPS because there was some upgrades to the network, and then the quality of service wasn't really there, or it was not really that stable. The way we're thinking of doing that is the foundation will kickstart this process because it's a continuation of the MIPS program. As in, I'll just create a forum post, and then we'll have a plan to test it out on the testnet with some tooling that's been built as well for POI divergency checks. And we'll just do a simple test on testnet before we go to the council and ask for approval. Because again, the Studio integration already exists, so we can fast forward that and it should be simpler. But yeah, the foundation will kickstart that process for this particular case. Yeah. Do we have any more questions on this chain integration process? Tomas, can I get co-host? Yes, you can. All right, let's move on then. I don't see any questions. If you have, I can always go back and answer. All right, so going back to the agenda, who do we have first? I believe it's Pablo and Tomas. So let me make Tomas co-host so he can speak. There you go. Yeah, Tomas, Pablo, I think you're ready.
Okay.
And I'll be monitoring the chat if you folks have questions on the CIP process.
Okay, sounds good. Hello, everyone. Tomas from EgentNode. We don't have much in terms of slides prepared. We just wanted to provide a quick update regarding GIP 51 and 52, I believe it is. These are the two GIPs related to first to increasing the indexing rewards on Arbitrum and decreasing them on mainnet. And GIP 51 is the one that relates to the exponential rebates upgrades. The first thing I'd like to point out is we've decided this time to try and combine or merge both upgrades if possible. This is mainly to reduce operational overhead. Every time we do an upgrade or a parameter change on the network, that's requires a lot of well, some transactions that the council needs to review and sign, and that takes time. And so this time around, we thought, okay, we can combine both upgrades, and that's that reduces the operational overhead. So I'm gonna quickly talk about the exponential rebates upgrade, which is in this time is the more complex one. So as a brief reminder, this upgrade is the idea of this upgrade is to replace the Cobb-Douglas based rebates mechanism with an exponential rebates mechanism. This GIP proposed a two-step implementation, right? The first step is mostly a parameter change where we change the channel dispute epochs, which is a network parameters, to one epoch. That's mostly to allow indexers more flexibility when closing allocations, and so that they have enough time to redeem any query fees before the upgrade. And then the second step is the actual upgrade, where we go and upgrade the contracts, right? We've already rolled out like the first step. This was done September 5th, so that was last Tuesday, I believe. So that's already done. That means that there's a few implications to that, which I'll talk about in just 1 second. But the second step, so the actual upgrade of the contracts, will take place September 10th, so this Sunday, probably towards the end of the day on a Pacific time zone. So yeah, we are right in between the two steps. With the step 2, the bump to 25% of indexing rewards will come, so that both will be simultaneously happening. And in terms of action items or important things for indexers, so with Pablo, we've been trying to make noise about this. Like anyone who gave us the opportunity or a microphone, we try to make noise. Because the indexers need to upgrade to V0 2020 of the indexer stack for the period, I mean, after the contracts are upgraded. And there are a few things to consider for this transition period, which we are right now. So right now, as I mentioned, this network parameter is set to one epoch. That means that indexers can close an allocation, and one epoch later, they can redeem any query fees they have. There is like the day or the epoch before we upgrade the contracts, that's the danger period, where if you're an indexer and you close an allocation within that period, or within that one epoch before the contracts are upgraded, you will lose the query fees that are associated with that allocation. You won't lose the indexing rewards, just the query fees. So we've tried to make noise about this, right? Because no one wants to lose query fees. So if possible, you can close allocations either before September 9th or after the contracts are upgraded, which is September 10th. I don't know if someone wants more details about this, there is a Discord announcement with all the proper details. There is a forum post. You can ping me in the chat. Happy to answer any questions about this. And Pablo, I don't know if you're there and you want to talk about the indexing rewards bump.
Hey, yeah, thanks so much.
There we go.
For the indexing rewards, the update is quite simple. As Tomas said, we're executing that transaction later in the day on that Sunday 10th, precise time to be confirmed. But yeah, on Sunday, September 10th, we're going to execute that transaction on both Arbitrum and mainnet, and this will increase rewards in Arbitrum to 25% of the total, And at the same time, we'll execute the transaction on mainnet that reduces the total, the issuance to 75% of the total. Currently, they're at 95 and 5. And this is the first step of GAP 52, where that GAP specifies some milestones and some requirements for us to be able to do the following steps in increasing rewards on Arbitrum. In this case, for the first 2 bumps, the GAP doesn't specify anything special other than having the transfer tools and making sure that people can use them without larger blocking issues. Since we've launched the transfer tools, it seems that people have been able to use them without issues. I mean, there's been a few small bugs here and there, but mostly fixed by now. And we've seen a big part of the community start using the transfer tools, which is great. So if this trend continues, there should be nothing stopping us from running a second increase to 50% on September 24th. We've been discussing this in the indexer office hours, and there was more or less consensus on the idea. There's some people who would prefer checking to see how many people actually start using transfer tools after a 25% bump. So we're discussing this with the council, but if all goes well, if we can get consensus in IOH and like with the community in general, we would be doing September 10th and then September 24th, so that by that date we're going to be with 50% of rewards on Arbitrum, and then we have a bit of a longer period of about 2 months, or at least 2 months, mostly to give time for delegators and subgraph developers to also transfer their subgraphs over, until we move into to like the third bump that would be to 95% on Arbitrum. But that one does have a few more requirements in terms of having a certain amount of the indexers already moved over to L2, a certain amount of I believe subgraphs, and just ensuring that most of the community is already moved to Arbitrum before we do that more like that stronger bump, let's say. So yeah, that's the update. If there are any comments, feel free to or questions, feel free to ping us on one of the channels on Discord, or even better in the forum in the GAP 52 post. I still need to update the exact dates. The GAP specifies timelines and also tentative dates, and those tentative dates have become quite outdated, so I need to update those. So those will be updated soon. But if you look at the thread in the forums, it specifies all of the updates that have happened since we posted the GAP. And feel free to add any questions or comments there. Yeah, any feedback also always appreciated. So I think that's all. So yeah, thank you. Back to you, Pedro.
All right. Thanks, Pablo. Thanks, Tomas. Let's see if we have questions. I mean, this topic has been discussed in indexer office hours. So I'm assuming indexers are already up to speed with everything, but it's worth pointing it out again. So I don't see any questions. Thanks for sharing that timeline. I know the council has voted recently on those proposals, so it's all going according to plan. Yeah, no questions in the chat. All right. So yeah, I mentioned Simone before for the Arweave file data sources. Yeah, but yeah, but it's not actually Simone. I'm sorry, it's Marcus Rain from EdgeNode. So Marcus, I believe you're already co-host. Yeah, you are.
Yeah. Hey Pedro. Hello everybody.
Hello,
How's
friend.
it going? So let's go ahead and share my screen. I'm going to go over, first off, if anyone doesn't know me, I'm Marcus. I work as a developer relations and developer success for EdgeNode. And we're in the middle of a file data sources push. Let's see. Can everyone see my screen here? Yes, good. Okay, so just to get everyone up to speed real quick, like I said, we're doing a file data sources push as developer relations. Simone just gave this presentation, and it discusses combining Arweave and the graph. And for those who don't know, Arweave is an off-chain data source, and that is a big new feature for subgraphs. And so we're really excited about Arweave being able to bring in their data into subgraphs. IPFS is also currently supported. I've given a presentation on this in the past, just specific to IPFS. And if anyone wants to go into that presentation and the repo, I'll just put that in the chat here. Let's see, there's chat. So if anyone wants to go into that. And right now we're in a push, like I said, for Arweave and IPFS. So there's a few things going on right now. As well as Felipe put this repo together that is a subgraph that is indexing a smart contract that's deployed on Polygon, and it is a lens smart contract that also references IPFS and Arweave data in its smart contract events. So it's perfect for a demo. So I used that subgraph and extended it a little bit, and I'm in the process of extending it currently. So I'd just like to take everyone here through what has been built already from Felipe and Sahaj, as well as what I've extended a little bit, and then just get people aware of what we're all able to do as subgraph developers, which is really quite exciting to get all of this done for a full push, which is going to be sharing all this information in terms of a blog, videos, just really getting the builders excited for this new feature. So, and if there's any questions, go ahead and put them in the chat. I'll take a look at those. So the intent of this subgraph that I'm building here, index content regardless from Arweave or IPFS, just to show it's possible. And then more specifically, index of profiles, NFT metadata stored on IPFS. Well, interesting. Let's get into it here. I just created this query and I wanted to show that already the subgraph is working. And we have the on-chain event emitted. And if it contains Arweave in the URI, it's going to be here. So we have some Arweave URIs right there. And then you can see the ID right there that ends in a 3.7 right there and ends in 3.7. This is the off-chain metadata that's being brought in. That's the post content. And there it is, ends in 3.7, and this is the content that's right now in the subgraph able to be grabbed. And just for the sake of this chat, I pulled it up here. This is what's being brought in from Arweave. You can see that is right there, the CID up top right there, as well as all of that information that is being brought in to our subgraph as is. So then the question is, how did we get to this? Let's go into the subgraph code. And okay, that's not a question. Just looking at the chat, Pedro. Let's go into the code and see how we got this post created and post content. So we'll go here and we'll start with the initial subgraph.yaml, the manifest. You can see right here, we have just a basic smart contract being looked at. This is the Lens smart contract proxy that we're able to pull in 2 different events, and specific to this demo, this is just post created. Just looking at that one, I extended a little bit to profile created because I'm looking at profiles, but let's not pay attention to that. Essentially, when a post created event is emitted, this file data source template of 2 different templates is going to be created. We have a Arweave template that can be created if Arweave is found to be a file data source, and we have an IPFS template that's going to be created should it be a file that is a IPFS file. So let's go into the contract, see how that's done. So in the handle post created, this is being triggered anytime a post is created, and then from there we're looking specifically to see if the content URI that is emitted as an event parameter either has Arweave or IPFS in it. And if it has Arweave or IPFS in it, we can start to categorize and trigger the data source templates according to the different content URI that's being brought in. And you can see here we have Arweave content or IPFS content. And that template that we saw in the previous manifest is being triggered, and it's being passed in the hash to actually begin indexing, as well as context that can help with identification of the different post content. From there, it's just simply assigning it to the entity right through here. This is the handle post content. Now that it's been triggered in this previous handler, we go into the handling the post content, and the post content is just being brought in as a big old string. So at this point, builders can go ahead and organize a string if they'd like and be more specific. To do that, it does require a little bit more standardization of the actual data itself. And because it's coming in from different data sources here, you can't really do that here unless you really want to put in the effort and do that. I just decided to extend it a little bit further and have a standard data source that is only going to be IPFS and show the builders that they can actually get quite accurate with handling the specific data that is on IPFS in this instance. And then also this could also be done, of course, on Arweave, just making sure the data that's coming in is standardized. And then from there, you can go ahead and dive in. So we have about 2 minutes on the clock for me. If anyone has any questions, go ahead and ask. I'll leave the next 2 minutes available for time. Hopefully that wasn't too quick, but that was hopefully that was helpful for everyone listening.
Thanks, Marcus. It was super clear, and I don't think you rushed it at all.
Okay.
And we have time. We do have time. It's a light agenda anyway.
Yeah, if there's any questions, feel free to. There we go. I see someone in chat.
I'm monitoring the chat.
Very cool. And heat. Perfect. Awesome. All right.
Yeah.
Well, no questions. I'm going to keep on building this presentation out to I'm going to see any demo with Firehose Arweave. Not currently. That is a great question. I will talk to Simone about that and see if that is something that it would be reasonable to build.
Matthew, are you talking specifically about Arweave as a blockchain transactions or the actual data files through Firehose as well? Or yeah, because we do have documentation for people to build subgraphs for Arweave, like the blockchain itself. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, because we have the Arweave Firehose blockchain enablement. So now you could use, which doesn't have all the data for, the actual files, right? It just has the metadata, kind of like the transactions and the blocks. So presumably you could combine these two things to get a whole picture of what's on Arweave. That's why I was asking this.
Yeah,
Sure.
I'll bring that up to Simone, and I'll let him think about that, and I'll get back to you and let you see if that's going to be built. Yeah, good idea.
It's worth pointing out that it's important we don't have the Streaming Fast team on the call, anyone from the team, because they're having their virtual retreat, I believe, anyway. But they are working on file data sources kind of thing, support at Substreams, so being able to also parse and index data from Arweave or IPFS, that sort of thing. It's still very early days anyway.
Yeah, awesome.
But again,
that's super powerful. And real quick before I go, big shout out to Kevin for helping out. He helped out debug something, and that couldn't have happened without his help. So see him on the call. Thank you so much, Kevin.
Yeah, thank you all. I love this team. Thanks, Simone, for putting. Yeah, I first reached out to Simone. But then I noticed, Marcus, you were doing something similar. So thanks for joining. Thanks, Kevin. You guys are doing amazing work, and I hope to see you more often here. Appreciate it.
And Yaro asked a question: does Studio already have support? Yes, it does.
Yeah,
There you go, Adam.
sorry. Support. Yeah. You can. I'll probably share a link to the docs, but we do support Arweave as a data source, as in you can build. There's a Firehose Arweave implementation and a Studio support. So if you deploy Subgraph for it, we can index Arweave stuff. Files, you have to use file data sources, as Marcus just mentioned. Cool. All right, thanks all. Who do we have next? Jordan, also Rain, Spyglass. More cool stuff this time about Substreams. Hey, Jordan.
Hey, Pedro. Thank you. Thank you for having me. Good to see you, bro. Kind of strange to see you in the professional context on this Zoom call, but it's like, whoa. Anyway, let's talk about Spyglass. So you probably have seen my face or my co-founder's Goose's face before when we were called Soulbound. But we did not check the USPTO, and Soulbound was trademarked, and we were starting to infringe. And so now we are Spyglass. And the other upgrade is that, we started this process about a year ago about seeing what it's like to use subgraphs to visualize on-chain data. and we ran into a fundamental problem that subgraphs take way too long to index on-chain data. But Substreams kind of came around on our radar about 6-7 months ago. And A, it addressed that problem of like speed of indexing. B, Rust is much more of a, how do I say this, powerful language than assembly script, which is a bit neutered sometimes. And C, just the tooling is fantastic. We kind of like did some soul searching of what we wanted to build with Substreams, and we settled on this. So this is Spyglass, currently available at localhost port 3000. Not going to launch yet, probably next week once I'm back from a wedding. And the gist here is that we wanted to build, what you're seeing right now is a registry of community uploaded Substreams. Nothing glamorous. We are going for speed right now and centralization. So this is just thrown on an AWS bucket. But anyone can upload a Substream by clicking this wonderful blue button. And because Substreams are technical and scary and rusty, we're really leaning into eye candy right now. So choose your Midjourney generated image. We'll go for this ice cream cone on fire. And let me go select a Substream package. And I think the Uniswap Substream is a pretty neat one. And so that's loading. Uniswap v3, we grab the name and description. And here is kind of like a high-level view of what a Substream is. I see a little chat symbol here. Amazing. The sources, maps, and stores. So let's go upload this Substream and learn a little bit more about what that is. Cool. Here is like your view of an individual Substream. And right now on this page, we see all the map modules. And these are kind of like the outputs, the things you stream, the things you pipe to a graph out, the things you pipe to a sink.
Is it me or did we lose Jordan? We lost him. Yeah, thanks, Mickey. Okay.
And another visualization is over on this side.
You lost you for some seconds. You froze.
Oh no.
Yeah, like 5 seconds.
All right, all good. Are we back now?
Yeah, you're back. Just let you know. Yeah.
Appreciate that. And apologies if I sound a little bit loopy. There was 2 cats doing battle outside my window at 1 a.m. And so we're running on very, very limited amount of sleep right now, but we're chugging through valiantly. Right now, data flow. So Substreams can be thought of as a DAG, a directed acyclic graph, where each of these modules, we have a SF Ethereum type V2 block, we have a clock. They kind of like, whenever a new block or clock event fires, there's the clock, all the downstream modules recalculate. And so I have a little nice explanation of these data flows here, but the ones we care about are map modules, the ones responsible for data extraction, filtering, transformation, and output. Store modules focuses on data aggregation and maintaining short-lived state across blocks. And the params type represents adaptable module inputs that give users the power to fine-tune Substreams, tailoring both its functionality and output. More to come here. Click the Streaming Fast docs if you want to learn more. And CLI guide. So right now, the 2 big fire hose providers are, of course, the Streaming Fast team and Pinex. And what you can do is, if you'd like to run any part of a Substream, we have a kind of like a quick start guide here to install the Substream CLI, some instructions on getting your API key from Pinex or Streaming Fast, and then some commands to I want to stream the data. I want to visualize the kind of the runtime of the Substream. And once again, you can kind of choose which endpoint you want to run to and which map module, the outputs of a Substream you care about in the time range. But let's go back to the eye candy, and let's say I care about map pools created. So I click visualize here, and you'll see that we have blank canvas. Let's first click add view and get a data grid. And we're starting to load up here our our substream against the Pinex Firehose endpoint. And maybe I want a sunburst as well. And let's kind of move that over here so you can see it better. And maybe I want to see, these are all the Uniswap pools. Let's grow group by this one. Okay, cool. So we have a nice kind of like visualization of the percentage of like each primary of the token pairs that are being traded. And maybe you want another visualization. This is Dune, not SQL, but Substreams. I like SQL, wonderful language, but sometimes you want to model more complex relationships, and you need to actually go down to a proper language that can do that and not have to write 2,000 lines of SQL for a table. But let's go here, expand that a bit, and I don't know, let's just see the relationship of all the names. We have the pool 0 token name and the pool 1 token name. Okay, so cool, we can kind of see like the various pools and how they like cross over and interact. And once again, all real time, we are 67%, 70%, and you can kind of see the graphs and the charts update as we get closer and closer to the head block. And unlike Dune, where you have to wait anywhere from like 2 to 10 hours for your charts to update, we are at the level of the head block or unfinalized block. So pretty cool. The other stuff to talk about is that you will be able to see this at spygpc.com. You will be able to edit, download, view the GitHub, upload your own. And we're keen to make this like a decentralized, proper decentralized registry. Like right now, we're optimizing for speed, but we ideally want community involvement here. And like we win if more substreams are on the platform, and the community wins if there's like a proper decentralized registry for people to play around with. But this is the baseline. Like you need to make substreams accessible. You need to make the data viewable. And from there, a lot of fun stuff is going to happen. I foresee the ability for folks to be able to have like one-click buttons to say, deploy to the graph. And you can actually generate a subgraph and send it to the graph protocol. I foresee kind of like if you ever used QuickNode before, they have like quick alerts. So substreams have syncs, and you can kind of like do like various triggers and notifications related to that, and just kind of instrumenting all the fun things around this really cool paradigm. That is what we've been working on for the past 4 months, team. March 2023. We've been heads down. We're a team of Jordan, Goose, and GPT-4. And yeah, hoping to launch next week once I'm back from a wedding. And feel free to talk with Goose or I if you have any questions. So thank you, Streaming Fest. Thank you, Graph. Thank you, Pinex.
This is awesome. You should hire that GPT-4 guy, by the way.
I should. He's the scallywag of the Spyglass Pirate Collective, the combined totality of human knowledge made available via REST API. And indeed, he wrote those lines, which is crazy. Or she, gender neutral.
Good intern for sure. This is great. I mean, if you scroll through the chat, people are saying very cool stuff, great demo. It's really well built. I can see the value proposition clearly for Substreams developers for sure. You mentioned the, actually, let me give the opportunity for folks to speak up or ask questions first.
Should I be looking at the chat, Pedro, or are you taking a look at chat questions here?
I'm scrolling just but no questions. Yeah, no specific question. What's this? Oh yeah, Adam Fuller. What's the stack behind the app?
So remix.run is probably, this is my hill I'll die on. This is the best. Next.js is a poor man's imitation of Remix. Shad CN UI is probably if you like Tailwind as a paradigm and you like Radix as a paradigm, really nice way to get going. And Prisma, SQLite 3, all deployed to fly.io. If you have any specific questions, please feel free to ask, but that's the kind of like high level. And like, oh yeah, here's Dune. Here's your 170 lines of SQL that updated last 6 hours ago. And like it takes 40 hours to make like a meaningful dashboard. It's pain. I mean, like I'd rather write Rust and like just try to like fork it a little bit, but that's just me. It is calling the Substreams endpoint in the browser. If you want to check out
Substreams.js, right? Yeah, there you go.
Substreams.js, play around with it. This is really cool. These fine folk, all 5 contributors, did a really nice job. And you can kind of check out substreams.vercel.app. They did, this was kind of like, oh, snap, this is possible. We were going to do this all on our server, and then we saw them doing it, and we're like, amazing. Can you call custom Firehose endpoint, Vince? We're still looking like probably this, I mean, this is dark times for the crypto markets. So we're doing SaaS model here. We're like, yay, decentralized registry, yay, open source substreams, but also probably charge $100 a month for like private visualizations, etc. If the customers demand private Firehose endpoints, we provide it. It's less holistic and ideal than of an answer, but that's where we're at right now.
Yeah, it's worth reminding that in the future, I mean, these questions are coming from indexers, which is nice.
Huh?
It's worth also noting that the Firehose should be a data service supported on the protocol in the future. So you could also tap into the network and have a bunch of different URLs, let's say, endpoints you can connect to and have some redundancy or something to look out for the future. You also mentioned, so it's good that you brought up Substreams JS. Oh, there you go. Yeah. Oh, there's a question. Does it support custom endpoints? Just the custom? Not really, right? So you can't really paste in specific ones at the moment.
It'd be a pretty easy feature to add, honestly. Like if people want to roll this some visualizations against their own endpoint, it'd take 2 hours to do. It's not that big of a feature. So if it's important for indexers, happy to do it.
Yeah. So going back, yeah, shout out to Fubi, who also has been leading the Substream.js work. Is not on the call. Neither is anyone from Streaming Fast, unfortunately. But you mentioned the registry, and I don't know if there's anything we can speak about it currently with the folks we have on the call. Not sure if Adam has any info there, but there's and not to break any news, but there's let's say, the next version of Substreams JS, that Vercel app you just showed, that's on the repo. It should evolve to something fancier, let's say, and the registry is something that's indeed needed for the community to reuse existing Substreams modules and compose stuff and play around with things easily. So hopefully we'll be working with you guys, tapping into those, and you can contribute back since that would be super nice. Adam, not to put you on the spot, but is there something you want to talk about this since we have time? Maybe not, because I know I can't unmute. Oh, yeah, sorry. Give me a second. There you go. Yeah, you should be able to.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, I was supposed to say there've been discussions around a registry. And yes, I know that Alex from Streaming Fast is currently like taking the lead on that, but I would say that this is also looking. Yeah, I think it's looking great, and it's certainly in line with a lot of the MVP registry plans that we'd had discussed. So I'm keen that we don't like reinvent wheels, or that we don't like create a bunch of like similar stuff, and when we stay in touch on that. Like I'm sure I've already ragged on him in an internal chat to say that you guys are a step ahead of him on this front. So like I'm sure they'll be in touch soon enough.
Perfect. Yeah, maybe Arweave. I've been thinking about some like proper ideas to structure this, but no, it'd be good to talk with the community and the Streaming Fast team in particular about that.
Yeah, and I think and I think certainly in terms of like getting started, you've taken the right approach. I think it'll take a while to like work out what a sensible registry structure should look like, and like before we build anything more robust, definitely having something out there and making sure that we're sharing and people using each other's stuff, and we're starting to see what the patterns look like. I think that's super valuable.
Goose obviously agrees. And you're saying you'll be launching this next week, Jordan? People want to
Fingers
test it out. Yeah.
It's looking good. I feel like after that last push, starting at 1 a.m. because I couldn't sleep, we're in the clear. I don't foresee any other features I want in there.
All right. Yeah. It looks great. So we have 10 minutes more or less, and we have free time. So now it's just free time. Feel free to ask questions away, folks. I'm going to make you all co-host if you want to speak. But we've covered the agenda. So we can either stay and wait for folks to ask questions and discuss something, or we take the time back, which is always nice. And it will be a first during these core dev calls. So I'm making all of you co-hosts, don't be shy. Mickey as well, there you go. All right, and Sahar is joining.
Hey, I just want to say something real quick. As some of you guys know, we've been doing the Graph Builders office hours every week. And we're looking for people that want to come on and showcase cool stuff. So if anyone is interested, please reach out to me. You can find me on Telegram as Kevin Jones Creates. I'm also on Slack, obviously, and Twitter as well as Crypto Mastery _. But yeah, we're looking for people who want to show off some cool stuff in the Graph ecosystem. It's more of a builder type of session, so something technical that you can showcase. Thank you.
Perfect. All right, I don't see questions, so we can wrap here and take some time back. All agree?
Love it.
Yep. All right. That's it then. Thanks all. I'll see you in a month. Thanks for joining.